Chelsea fans, welcome back to Talking Chelsea. Welcome back to your Chelsea news. Jordi Petrovic is no longer a Chelsea player. Todd Boehly has made a decision on redeveloping Stamford Bridge. We also have some player updates regarding Nicolas Jackson, Christopher Nkunku and Trevor Chalobah, and Chelsea want to sign Eze from Crystal Palace. Now, of course, let me give my own thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported, but more importantly, I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments. And before we get into the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content. We're on the road to 10k by the end of 2025. Kicking things off, Chelsea have officially announced that Jordi Petrovic has joined Bournemouth on a permanent transfer. No fee disclosed, but as per reports, it should be around a £25 million deal. This is a sad day for Chelsea fans. We really rate and like Petrovic. We wanted him to stay, fight for his position and be Chelsea's number one. He obviously had different plans. He felt like he expected to be number one. The Chelsea club, the owners, the board, they said, look, we can't guarantee you a number one spot. You have to stay and fight for your position, which I think is relatively fair from a club's perspective. But I also see Petrovic's side. He was told to go on loan to develop his game. He did that. He becomes Strasbourg's player of the year. He developed immensely. Comes back to the club and he's like, right, I want my number one spot now. And they're like, doesn't quite work like that. You don't just get given it. You do have to fight and earn for it, but you have had an incredible development season. So fair enough. Like, he did his part. Either way, there was a breakdown mutually. And a gentleman's agreement was sort of agreed upon that £25 million was the asking price. Jordi Petrovic was allowed to leave. They said, if you do want to go, you're more than welcome. All we ask is for a £25 million transfer fee. Other than that, fill your boots. Go. Enjoy yourself, because we feel confident in Sanchez and Jorgensen that we currently have. And if you're not going to fight for your position, you know, you can go. So I get it from both positions, Petrovic and the clubs. And after speaking to you guys in the comments as well, like, it seems to be very split. And again, a lot of people agree with the club. You have to fight for your number one spot. A lot of people think that Petrovic should be our number one because he's more than good enough. I totally agree with both sides. I think Petrovic is good enough to be our number one, but I also agree that he doesn't just come in and knock Sanchez and Jorgensen out of their position. He does have to come in and kind of showcase what he's developed into to then be Chelsea's number one. But regardless of that, it's just sad, because Bournemouth have picked up an unbelievable goalkeeper here for £25 million, which is good business on the business ends for the accountant fans that love that. And, it is money generated by Chelsea, money that I don't think we were expected to generate off of Petrovic. Not that he's not worth £25 million, I'm not saying that, but I don't think we expected to sell him this summer. Some fans already predicted this and it's like, oh, he's coming back and he's going to go for sale. Fair enough. But for the majority of us, we wanted to see him stay, fight for his position and be Chelsea's number one next season. And we were excited to see that, see how well he had developed in Premier League football. So it's £25 million that for a lot of fans we weren't expecting, which is extra generated revenue. But Bournemouth have got an absolute class keeper here for £25 million. And I've just got a funny feeling that the Bournemouth games next season are going to be even tougher coming up against Petrovic. Now, I'm not saying that he is the best in the league. I'm not saying that. All I am saying is he's a very good goalkeeper. We know what he's like with his commanding from the box. His distribution's fairly decent. Looks to have improved over at Strasbourg. He was their player of the season. We're going to be facing a brand new Petrovic. He's not going to be in our sticks. He'll be in the opposition's. And I'm just not looking forward to it. It'll be nice to kind of see him, if that makes sense, not in a weird way, but it'd be nice to see him, and I hope he gets a very good reception at Chelsea. I believe that he will get a good reception, even away at Bournemouth. I feel like he'll get. Bournemouth are laughing. They're laughing. They had Kepa on loan, and they were like, yeah, he's done all right, but we're not gonna buy him for £5 million. He's not worth the £5 million. Arsenal come up and pick up Kepa for that. Great. They've now gone, ooh, Petrovic is for sale. We like a bit of that. Strasbourg's player of the year. Premier League experience. £25 million, you say? We'll pay that. So look, fair play to Jordi Petrovic. I wish him all the best. Thank you for your service as a Chelsea player. And also, I appreciate that he's gone through the hard work to go to Strasbourg on loan when he probably didn't want to, but he's gone to do that to develop his game. And now he's going to be a number one goalkeeper for a Premier League club. So I couldn't be happier for him. I think that's the least he deserves. I think he's more than good enough to do that. I'm just hoping that he doesn't have great games against us. That is my only wish. So for 2 games this season coming, Petrovic, if you could just not have a great game, that would be amazing. Because could you imagine we sell Petrovic to Bournemouth and then we get 2 draws out of the game, or even worse, we lose both those lose both those games because Bournemouth hit us on the counter and we can't score past Petrovic. It would be poetic justice or irony, however you want to frame it. But I wish Petrovic all the best. I'd like to know your thoughts and opinions down below regarding Petrovic. Are you happy that he's going to go and be number one somewhere else, like, for his sake? Are you sad that Chelsea have sold him? Were you one of the fans that wanted to see him be number 1 at Chelsea? Do you agree with the stance of Petrovic and the club? Where the club say you have to fight for your position. Petrovic thinks that he, deserves to be number 1 already. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. S. Johnson Sport has reported the sudden injection of extra revenue has made no difference to Chelsea's transfer plans, though they are already happy with the business done so far this summer in adding 3 players to their attack in Liam Delap, João Pedro and Jamie Gittins. Now I find this very smart. It's not extra money. We're not just going to splurge it because we can, but I feel like the funds are there if we need it, right? And Chelsea are in an incredibly healthy position with PSR. I think it works out that with the Club World Cup money coming in, and this is without sponsorships and everything that's revenue generated already, the PSR has now gone up to about 440, 450 million in the green, which is an incredible place to be in, right? And what I kind of respect about the directors, I know there's been a lot of berating of them, credit given, and obviously beration, since the turnover. I get it. I've also been one of those fans sharing my frustrations and also giving credit where it's due. They have been, the credit I'll give them is they have been sticking to their plan. They've saw the vision, they've stuck to it, it's starting to come to fruition, and I will agree that the business we've done this summer looks to be phenomenal. João Pedro, instant impact. Liam Delap, instant impact. We're yet to see Jamie Gittins. We are still in the market for a centre-back. We're still in the market for an attacking player that could play a multitude of roles. I feel like this summer we've really calmed down. We've injected the right type of players and profiles in the key areas that we need, which was very, very much needed going into this new season. We're now starting to see the vision. It's all starting to come into place, and it's starting to unify the fan base a lot more than where it was sort of even 6 months ago, last year, year before. We can all kind of be on the same page. The board have come out and said, we want to be competing across all platforms. We want to be competing across all competitions. That's domestically, that's European, everything. We want the squad to be able to compete very far in the Premier League and the Champions League. And that's what the fans want to hear. We want to win. Levi Colwell's come out and said that, he said to everyone before the Club World Cup started that we were going to win it. Everyone looked at him like he was crazy. We then go and win it. He said, I'm going to say the same thing about the Premier League. And it's getting me excited because the boys have got this elite mentality now that's being instilled. They've won a couple of trophies this season. They've got a taste for it. They know what it takes to get it over the line. They want to attack this new season with that mentality. And we are here for it. We are here for it. But I'd like to know your thoughts and opinions on this. Sudden injection of revenue has made no difference to their plans. Do you feel like Chelsea should be utilising this extra cash to then go buy some extra players? Or do you trust in their transfer plans of what they've currently done and what they're looking to do for the rest of the window, which is a new centre-back, hopefully cover for left-back Cucurella. And if we can get a centre-back that can play left-back just as good, that's a win-win because they can play left-back to cover Cucurella when needed and also centre-back when needed. I think that kind of ticks a lot of boxes and we don't have to spend ultra amounts of money on that. Obviously, another attacking player and obviously a centre-back, depending on how they go that, if it's just a left-back or just a centre-back or someone that can play both. Let me know your thoughts. Who do you think we should go for? We've been linked with a lot of players. Garnacho, Eze, who we're going to be speaking about later in the video, Morgan Rogers. We've got Jamie Gittins over the line. Hatto, we've had some talks with, fresh talks with yesterday. In yesterday's video, we spoke about that. So I'm just very curious to know your thoughts. I think this is a very smart move by the club just to basically collect as much profit as possible, use it, spend it smartly because we have been throwing money left, right and centre for the last few years, looking to offload the players that we no longer have use for or no longer want or don't fit the sort of vision or the plans going forward. Chelsea are in an extremely healthy position and it's good to see. And then plus on top of that, we're going to be adding a front of shirt sponsor on at some point, which is going to be a huge boost in terms of revenue, like around that 60 million a year mark, which we're looking to get. We're in an incredibly good position. All the money we've spent, all the money we've generated from sales and now from the actual football itself by winning trophies, etc. We are laughing. We're absolutely laughing. And I feel like we have the funds to spend extra if needed or an opportunity arises, right? Let's say, for example, Liverpool have gone for Hugo over at Frankfurt over Isak because Newcastle is not for sale. But let's just say all of a sudden Newcastle is for sale. We then have the money to go, well, we have 120 mil and it won't even dent our PSR. That's I'm not saying that we should go for Isak, right? Because we've bought 2 nines or players that can play in that role. Just using it as an example to say that how healthy our PSR is, we then have money. That's another Enzo Fernandez. It's another Moises Caicedo type money. And we'd still be in a good position. That's wild to me. So let me know your thoughts and opinions down below regarding this. Do you think Chelsea should be spending this extra money or are we being smart by keeping it all as profit? Liam Twoney has reported that Chelsea's only two options in regard to the stadium is demolishing Stamford Bridge and building a new stadium on the site, or building at Earl's Court. The report continues to say that staying and redeveloping Stamford Bridge to the specifications that Clearlake and Todd Boehly are looking for is exceptionally complicated, to the point of potentially being unfeasible. Now, I find this very interesting, right? We spoke about this before on the channel many months ago. This seems to circulate every few months. And my opinion, it's changing over time, and I feel like as humans we grow and our opinions change. That's growth, right? In a nutshell, right? I'm so emotionally attached, just like you guys are with Stamford Bridge. It's our home, it's our church, it's our heritage. Everything we've done is all there. And Roman Abramovich has also had these same talks with the pitch owners, with the councils, with the available lots available in the area, and we kind of going in circles. We can't go up, because we haven't got the space. To go up, you need to go outwards. We can't go outwards because of the space. We can't go down because of the tubes, etc. Like, we're very limited in what we can do. And the fact that Boehly and Clearlake are even looking at, like, okay, what if we knock it down and start again in the same space? So it's still on the same site, but it's just a new version of Stamford Bridge, which I wouldn't be opposed to, because it's still the same site, right? And that's where the history comes from, of playing there since 1905. I like the fact that they're at least exploring those options, and they're saying that the way we want it don't make sense. It just won't work. So it's looking ever more likely that Chelsea will be moving from Stamford Bridge at some stage to go have a new stadium, probably at Earl's Court or somewhere around there, where, even though there's a lot of complications with the plots that are available because they've got development on there, or they've had investment from other companies to build stuff or whatnot, or they're just not available. That's a whole different argument, right? But it looks like it's going to be something like Earl's Court-esque, right? And Chelsea are going to go there, and we're going to build a new Stamford Bridge, but it can't be called Stamford Bridge because the pitch owners own the rights to that. So we're going to be called something else, probably CFC London or something, which is this new trademarks that they've taken. I don't know. I'm not completely opposed to a new stadium as of now. And it's not that they've worn me down, and it's not because, I want us to move. I don't. I really, really don't. But when you look at it realistically and objectively rather than emotionally, it makes a lot of sense. Matchday revenue is capped. We've been there for well over 100 years, which is an amazing feat to have. Arsenal, West Ham, Spurs, they've all had Everton now. They've been at historical sites for their fan base. They've moved on. They're going to be generating new matchday revenue. It's a new place to create more history, which Chelsea are serial winners. We will definitely create more history at the new ground if it ever happens. It does make a lot of sense in that angle. And like I said, we've been having the same argument for well over 20 years. Abramovich did all this. We've gone through circles and circles. And if you go to Stamford Bridge and you do the tour, there is a section of what Abramovich and the team of what they said, like what the future Stamford Bridge they wanted to do. And it looks great. It's on the same site and it's all like figurines and whatever. It looks amazing. But it just never came to fruition for so many different layers of red tape. But I feel like these new owners, they want us to move because they want to generate more match day revenue, which makes sense. Because the longer this goes on, the longer this goes on, the more it's going to hinder us in terms of PSR and what we can generate. Right? We're a global football club. We are current world champions. Our brand is huge, and they want to make it bigger. I get that. So I'm not opposed to moving. It's just on an emotional level, it's just sad. Because that's our ground, that's our heritage. Do you know what I mean? And I suppose you have to move on with the times. The fact that we've been there for like well over 100 years 120 years is actually nuts when you think about it. But yeah, I just wanted to get your thoughts and opinions down below regarding this, because like I said, from an emotional standpoint, as a fan, I don't want to move. But realistically and objectively speaking, you got to respect the fact that Abramovich and even the new owners are trying to respect the Chelsea fans, the Chelsea pitch owners, go through all the avenues of like, what can we do to not leave the site? And if it's not doable and there's absolutely no options, then that is the only option to do. I think it'll be very interesting. Like Twickenham have said that they can let us play there for a few seasons. Wembley is also an option as well. So it'll be a very interesting transition period if this ever goes ahead. I mean, we're still a long, long way off of it. We're looking at least 10 years before anything is in motion or happening or whatever. So very curious to know your thoughts down below. Should Chelsea just kneecap themselves financially and stay at Stamford Bridge forever? Or when is the point for you that you go, actually, it makes sense to move. Very curious to know your thoughts. Nizar Kinsella has reported that Barcelona, Bayern and Manchester United have shown interest in signing Nkunku. The report continues to say there is, however, no rush to force him out, as he could line up alongside João Pedro given the pair's ability to play multiple positions. Nevertheless, while his recent performances may have improved his standing in West London, they could also attract suitors to make formal offers later in the transfer window. Spoke about Nkunku a few times now, and again, my position is slowly changing. Because earlier in the season, didn't look like he didn't want to be here. He was trying to force a move in January. See you later, get the money, buy. And this Club World Cup specifically has made me think like he's rejuvenated. He's back to being Nkunku. Yes, he's not playing at that world-class level that we bought him at, but he's playing a lot better than what he has been. He looks like he wants to be there. He seems he cares. He's pressing, which is a massive thing because we all know that he's very lazy in that aspect of his game. Maresca's been testing his character by playing him as a DM in training. He looks to get on really well with the squad, happy to be there. And again, everything about him is just raised. It's just completely raised. So maybe there is a possibility that Nkunku does actually stay. Maybe offers come in and they're not good enough to satisfy Chelsea board's needs, and they go, actually, no, you're not going to pay what we want. We're going to keep Nkunku. He still has a place as part of this project. It's very interesting they say he could line up alongside João Pedro. And I think that from a footballing standpoint, it does make a lot of sense if we're looking for that versatile attacking player that could play left or as a 10 or on the right or wherever is needed, false 9 if needed. João Pedro can do that. He's been an instant impact. He's been incredible, right? One of the reasons we won the Club World Cup with his unbelievable goals. But Nkunku can also play those positions. He hasn't played them very well across last season, other than the Club World Cup where he's been called upon, he's played very well. Having the two together, I think, makes a lot of sense, and it could work in our favour. At the same time, if a good bid comes in and Bayern come in for like 60 million, I wouldn't be opposed to him going. I'd be like, all right, cool. It makes sense. I don't know. Maybe I've just not as emotionally attached to Nkunku as a player as I once was. And maybe that's what it is. I'm happy for him to stay and do well. I really want him to do well at Chelsea, and he has had some really good moments. But it looks like Chelsea are not trying to force him out. They're just saying, look, if a good offer comes in, we'll listen to it. We're not going to try and push him out. He has improved, which has improved sort of his regards within the club, which is great. I'm sure Maresca is absolutely loving it, that he's getting him to press and he's testing his character and he's performing better on the pitch. So it's a very interesting one. I'd like to know your thoughts down below. Do we keep Nkunku for at least another season and see if he really does kick on and becomes a vital cog in Enzo Maresca's fluid attacking system that he seems to be building and tweaking? Or do we just accept the highest offer that comes in the summer and offload him? Because this could potentially have an effect if Chelsea go in for another attacking player like a Morgan Rogers or Eze, who we're going to be speaking about later in the video, so make sure you keep watching. Or do we not go for that type of player and keep Nkunku because we know that he can also is more than capable to do that João Pedro-esque role, and he can fill in for Palmer at a 10 or on the left-hand side or as a false 9 or even on the right if needed. Very curious to know your thoughts down below. Fabrizio Romano has reported that several clubs have started to move for Nicolas Jackson as his exit from Chelsea remains possible this summer. The AC Milan deal is currently off. Priced is too high and no intention to proceed. Premier League clubs are making initial approaches. Again, Nicolas Jackson, spoke about him recently. My position's completely changed on this. And yeah, if he goes, he goes. I think the writing's on the wall. I think there will be a deal for him at some point during this window. And it looks like it's going to be another Premier League club. Is that Manchester United for £60 million? Is it Newcastle that want to strengthen that attacking role? Is it a Wolves? Is it a Bournemouth? Is it someone else? Who knows? But it very much looks like, AC Milan deal is currently off. It looks like Serie A just don't have the funds. They haven't got the bread like that. They can't pay the money that Chelsea are looking for. So it looks like a move to Italy is off the cards. It will be a Premier League move if there is one. Jackson has come out and said that he wants to stay, fight for his place, wants to refine his form next season, and having that competition is going to help him. A lot of Chelsea fans have wiped their hands with him. They're like, we don't care. It's too late for that. Too little, too late. See ya. Bye. And I hear it from all sides. I respect that Jackson is willing to stay and fight for his place. It means a lot. It's a lot of character. He knows that he's messed up with his recent red cards and his discipline or lack of discipline on the pitch. He wants to fight for the club. You could see when he came on, as annoying as it was that he was selfish, didn't square the ball in the final to Palmer or in the semis. Sorry. Or the final. I don't know. No, yeah, the final. And Palmer was very, very frustrated. Oh, it might have been I can't remember what game it was off the top of my head now. It was one of them. We know that it's extremely frustrating to watch that. We know that. But at the same time, you could also see that he looked overwhelmed, he looked flustered, and he was trying so hard to be the guy to kind of give the nod to Maresca of like, I'm still your man if you need me. So I respect it. I just don't know if he is surplus to requirements going into next season, because João Pedro has been an instant impact. So's Liam Delap. Still got Mark Guiu, who will more likely go on loan. But if Jackson gets offloaded, then he might stay. And then we have the 3 competitions. Jackson can play on the left. We've not experienced that really in a Chelsea shirt too much, if any. It might have been small spells here and there, but he's definitely not started as a left winger, right? And we do have a lot of competitions. I think he does have his uses. We know what qualities he brings to the team. But I think the writing's on the wall. I think a Premier League club, he'll probably go somewhere like United, and I think he'll do well there. You know, I think they'll come in with £60 million. They've not got the targets that they've wanted other than Cunha. They missed out on, it looks like they're missing out on Osimhen, Gyökeres, Sesko, Delap. Short amount of strikers that are available, and if Nicolas Jackson's available for 60 million, who is an international player, still very young, Premier League experience, I think he's gone. I think the chances of him staying at Chelsea look pretty slim. But that's just my opinion, and I would love to know your thoughts down below regarding Nicolas Jackson. Is he gone? Is he gone this summer? Do we take the money? Would you be happy with him going to another Premier League club? Would you like to see him go abroad? Or would you like Chelsea to keep him because he has his value for next season? Very curious to know your thoughts. Matt Law has been quoted via the London Pod saying, "There's definitely still some interest from Napoli in Trevor Chalobah. I still think that there might be bids that make Chelsea think about it, but it is a lot different than previously. They're certainly not putting him around. They're certainly not saying he's for sale. They're certainly not encouraging bids." This is the news we've been waiting for. This is the turning point. This is where we're starting to see the directors, the owners, and the fans slowly be on the same page in more and more different topics. Trevor Chalobah bleeds blue. He's one of our own. He knows exactly what it means to play for Chelsea. He's lifted trophies with Chelsea. He's been integral parts of the squads under different managers at Chelsea. If he goes on loan, no problem, boss. I'll go do that. We need to recall you? No problem, boss. I'll come back. He is such an incredible professional. A lovely man, an incredible footballer, and I'm glad that Chelsea are not putting him up for sale. Well, they're not specifically saying that, but they're not putting him around. They're not shopping him around the window. They're not saying it's for sale, and they're not encouraging bids. That tells me they want to keep him. They see his value. They obviously feel bad a little bit in terms of how they treated him, and rightfully so. But they've also seen the value of him, how good he is, how versatile he is, how much of a professional he is, how much he means to the fan base, how much he means to this football club and the dressing room, which is an amazing thing to see. It's an amazing thing to see because Chalobah's fantastic. He's an incredible player. So I'm glad that the club are basically saying, nah, we're not encouraging bids, he ain't for sale, and we're not going to shop him around. They will obviously listen to offers because that's normal. They'll do that with any player. If Napoli come in and go, ooh, 40 million, 45 million, 35 million for Chalobah, they're going to be like, no. Unless they come in with something silly like 60, 70 million, then of course. And I feel like there's a lot of players in our squad. If someone come in with a ridiculous offer, Chelsea would listen to it. Chelsea just would. We know this. But I'm very, very happy for Trevor Chalobah. He is, honestly, I can't believe what he's gone through as a Chelsea player in terms of how he's been treated and how he was shunned out of the squad and how he had to train with all the other sort of rejects that were looking to be sold. He was sent on loan because he weren't part of the project. He plays well. He's then recalled, comes back, plays an integral part of the rest of the season, misses out on that FA Cup win. Crystal Palace doesn't get the medal, but he does end the season with a Conference League trophy and a Club World Cup. So it's like redemption in that way. But he's such a professional and he's such a good player. And I feel like he's so versatile. He play right back, he plays centre back. He'll play anywhere you tell him. He's fantastic. So I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions on how the club stance on Chalobah has changed. Are you happy that he's going to be staying? Were you looking to sell him in the summer? Very curious to know your thoughts. For me personally, I'm so happy that he is looking to stay. I hope that he stays because he's a fantastic player. S. Johnson Sport has reported that Chelsea held new talks on Tuesday with the agents of Crystal Palace's Eze, who has a £65 million release clause in his contract. This is awesome news. And again, I'm more than happy to hear your opinions on Eze down below in the comments, but this is an exciting potential, and I hope Chelsea can go forward with this. I know we're linked with a lot of players. We're looking for an attacking midfielder, right? Someone who could play that 10 role. Someone who could play on that left. Someone who can potentially play on the right. We're very well stacked on the right at the moment, but someone who could play across those. Eze can play as a left winger. Eze can play as a left midfielder. Eze's main position is a 10. £65 million is a lot of money. That's why it's a release clause, because Palace don't want to let him go. Last year, Chelsea lost out on Michael Olise. Olise, well, due to negotiations, it broke down, whether it was the wages or Crystal Palace being a bit awkward about it, whatever it may be. But essentially, Olise went to Bayern Munich, had a fantastic season. Look at the player he is. The two players at Palace that everyone always talks about, I mean, this season it's still two players, but it's changed. But, you know, last season and this season as well, Eze and Elise. And then this season, obviously Elise's gone. That player has been Eze and Mateta because they've been unbelievable. They're the three best players at Palace, in my opinion. Adam Wharton's obviously a fantastic player, don't get me wrong. But if I had to pick three off the top of my head, I would say Mateta, Eze, and Elise when he was there, right? Obviously not now. Eze's a very exciting player. Skillful, very technical, quick. He's good and decisive in terms of his finishing, in terms of creating chances. He could play left, he could play as a 10. I would love this signing. He is a signing that will get you on the edge of your seat. Now, there's a lot of fans that want us to go for Rodrigo. Now, Rodrigo is obviously leaving Real Madrid. He is a massive target for Arsenal. Arsenal just bought Noni Madueke. They want to play him on the left. Does that mean that they're not going to go for Rodrigo? Does that mean they're not going to go for Eze? Because they were the other two options for him. For Chelsea to be having fresh talks and understanding it's a £65 million release clause, I don't know whether I would pay 65 million. To be fair, I think that's actually just for Eze. He is a class. The season he had for Palace last season was unbelievable. Scoring in FA Cup games, very vital for their progression in that cup run. Very vital in their Premier League run as well. Every time he picked the ball up, he was getting people on the edge of their seats, and it was ending with either an assist or a goal. He was on fire. And it's just the potential of what he can continue to do in a different set of team members that are at a different level. And that's no disrespect to Palace, but playing with the likes of, Palmer and Enzo, Caicedo, and, playing off of João Pedro or Delap or, Esteval and oh, mate, there's just so many. If you added an Eze into there, it'd be unbelievable, especially with Enzo Maresca tweaking his system to have a free-flowing, fluid attacking front line. I think he would be absolutely perfect for it. Now, I do believe he's a little bit older for the project. I think he's 27, if my memory serves me right. He's about 26, 27. So he is a little bit old for the project, which is wild to say, because 27 to 30 is like when players come into their prime, right? Especially outfield players. Not so much for goalkeepers, that's usually later on in life. But he's a player that's coming into his prime off the back of an incredible season. He would be a signing for them now. He would be a signing that excites people, at least in my opinion. But is 65 million too much for Chelsea to spend when we could spend similar amounts of money on a Rodrigo? I personally don't see Chelsea going for Rodrigo unless it's a market opportunity. It gets late on in the transfer window. We still don't have that left winger who can play across that attacking role. We haven't gone and got a Garnacho, which I really hope we don't do. A lot of you guys are telling me that regardless of what we think, it's going to be Garnacho in August, and I'm really hoping it's not. I'm really hoping it's not. The links aren't going away. Now, that's just my opinion. Some of you really rate Garnacho, and that's perfectly fine. I get it, but if you're telling me you're going to be spending around 60 to 70 million on a Garnacho, maybe 40 to 50, mate, I'd rather spend more and get Eze. You know what you're getting. Or I'd go for a Rodrigo, but I just don't realistically see Chelsea spending on the wages and the transfer fee for Rodrigo when you've got the likes of Eze, who's proven, had an incredible season going into his prime. 65 million might be a bit steep for some people. I think that's why it's a release clause. But at the same time, knowing that Noni went for, 52, I would quite happily play 65 for Eze because he's, in my opinion, a better player. And I think he can have more of an impact. And I think he's smarter with his decision-making in the final third, good at his ball carrying, technical player. I can go on and on and on, and I don't want to. But I'm very curious to know your thoughts. Do you guys, would you like the signing of Eze? Do you think that he impacts the squad? Do you think he really strengthens that? Our left wing would be Jamie Gittins and Eze in rotation. That number 10 role, you can got the likes of Palmer playing, obviously, but then Pedro could play there, Nkunku if he stays, or an Eze if he comes. Like what a rotation there. What a rotation. Obviously, if we look at Esteval was going to play some games centrally too. He's been promised that 10 role, but primarily this season, I think he was going to play on the right-hand side to integrate himself into the league. And I think he'll get minutes across both positions. I think primarily this season, he'll be in rotation with Pedro Neto. Obviously, Pedro Neto can play on the left-hand side as well. But I think Eze would be an incredible signing, and I'd very much like to know your thoughts down below. Would you go for Eze? Do you think £65 million is too much? Do you think he's worth more? Or would you go for someone like Rodrigo? Or would you be happy if Chelsea ignored Eze and went for someone like Garnacho? Or, do you know what? The one player I've not mentioned who I would really, if we don't go for Eze, the one I would really, really like is Malik Fofana. You guys know how I feel about that guy. Young, exciting, electric pace, high and wide winger, very decisive in the final third. Ahead of his years in terms of his maturity and footballing decisions, in my opinion. Had a fantastic season last season. So who would you rather go for? Who is your perfect left wing target of all the ones that we have listed? Is it still Rodrigo? Is it Eze? Is it Garnacho? Is it Malik Fofana? Who would you like to see? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. And that's all the latest Chelsea news. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported down below in the comment section. I love having a conversation with you guys. And if you have watched this video all the way to the end, firstly, you're a real one. And I mean that, you're a real one. But secondly, there'll be a thumbnail appears on the screen. So if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content, make sure you click that thumbnail because you'll enjoy that video too.